still. Let them say what they will, let them do what they must. Let's just be us.
Do you have a home base? That is the number one question that we have been asked since we have been traveling full-time in retirement since your retirement 2 years ago.
I got asked that just this morning.
Yeah, we get asked it all the time. And speaking of full-time travel in our retirement, we are literally getting on a plane tomorrow for our around the world 4.5-month flight. It's going to take us to all kinds of countries and new ones and other ones we love. So I invite you to subscribe if you'd like to follow along the journey. But let's get back to the home base.
That's a super important decision. And we went through that decision process as I was winding down my career. And we knew that our number one priority in retirement was to travel. That's what we really wanted to do. Our next biggest decision was, what do we do with the house? Do we want to keep a house? Do we want to own a house? Do we want to rent it because it can provide great supplemental income for our retirement journey?
Yeah.
And we spent at least 2 years, if not more, coming up with a plan.
Right. And it's important to understand for those of you considering this decision as well, obviously there are a lot of options, right? At the time we started talking about it, we still had the big family house, but our kids were finally getting grown and gone and out of the house. And so we knew downsizing would be a good move for us. And then do you downsize to something that's a lock and leave? Do you downsize to something you're going to rent out? Do you rent it out part-time? I saw something the other day on a Facebook group. Somebody else downsized to a duplex and they rented half and stayed in the other half when they were home. So there are many, many things to consider. And we went through that consideration process and we did a series of downsizing. And ultimately our last house was one that was a great lock and leave. Like you said, do you want rental income? And so we set it up very specifically for rental income. We could do sort of short-term rental income. By that, I mean 3 months at a time, or we could do a long-term lease. We ended up deciding to do a 2-year long-term lease with who was actually a really great renter. So that was our initial decision, and we thought it was a very good one. Then what happened?
And actually, it wasn't that bad. So like you said, we had a great renter, so it was trouble-free from that standpoint.
Yep.
But after about 18 months, and we really analyzed the rental income that we were getting and really the cost when insurance, HOA, we did not have a mortgage on the house, so we didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
But just the ongoing monthly costs to support it as a renter. And when I analyzed that, the ROI just wasn't with it. Even with getting that nice monthly check that we were getting for it compared to what the market was. So after 18 months of that, we pivoted.
Yep.
And now we've decided we don't want the responsibility and the work while we're traveling and trying to enjoy retirement. We don't want the responsibility of that house. And we still think we can get better ROI out of the market. So for that reason, we're going to we have it up for sale.
Well, and there was also one other factor in that, and that was, since at that point we had been retiring basically full time for 18 months, we actually decided we didn't need a house to go back to. That no longer fit our plan of what we thought we would, but we actually didn't. So that was another decision that we made as we don't really need it. But I want to talk about what it means to be a home base. And one thing that we are fortunate enough to have is we do have a family-owned little cabin in northern Arizona that if we need a place to land, we actually do have a place to land, but we honestly only spend 2-3 weeks there per year. But so we do have that.
So yeah, in the end, after 2 years of considering what we wanted to do with our house and then actually doing that for another 2 years, we learned.
Yeah.
And we decided to take, based on our travel and based on what we're comfortable and what we had learned, we decided that it was time to sell the house.
Right. And I think what's important if you're going through this process, that we went through a step-by-step process. It isn't all or nothing. You don't have to make every single decision at the same time. And I think we feel very fortunate that we did go through that process because now we are very comfortable with that decision to sell our house.
Yes.
Whereas 2 years ago, we might not have been. So I think just, it's okay to take baby steps. You do not have to do all or nothing at the same time, right? So let's get on to what we actually learned over time is what does home base really mean? When people say, do you have a home base? Most people immediately think house. But there are many things, we were talking about this last night, that actually goes into what home base means. And what's funny is you and I kind of had different thoughts on what it was. We are on the same page on almost everything in life, but we actually had very different thoughts. So what are the things that come to mind when you think home base?
Well, I think the next important thing that people really talk about when they think of home base is they think of family and kids.
No question. Yeah. And we both think that as well.
Yeah. So and I know that's maybe that's harder than the house is a lot of people want to be, even if they're going to travel a lot, when they're back, they want to be near family. They want to be accessible to family. They may want to provide a home base for their family to come to. So that's a hugely personal decision process that everybody that's going to do that goes into retirement has to decide, what do we do with family?
And for us, I will say a couple of things. We're very, very fortunate because number one, our family, our immediate family, parents, siblings, also our children and grandchildren, they all know, like, this is who we are. And we've talked about this for so long that they are happy for us to be out exploring the world. And so we're very, very lucky. We're also lucky that my sister has a rather large home that when we want to reconnect, we always have a place to go and stay with her and my brother-in-law. And that's also very nice. And the third way that we're kind of lucky is that our kids and grandkids are all over the world and they're not in one place. So honestly, we have to travel anyway when we're going to see them.
And if we look at our extended family, not only is our kids starting to spread out, our extended family and their kids, they're also spreading around. So that problem kind of solves itself. So now we go to them.
Yeah. So for us, that's kind of an easy issue. Now, another
In fact,
thing.
we're headed to Portugal to visit with one of our kids now.
Tomorrow. Yep, exactly. So another issue that people think about home base is medical care. Doctors, how do you do that? How do you handle it? We've got a couple of things on that. Why don't you talk about the doctors? Because you talked about that this morning.
Yeah, it's interesting. We all think we want our primary physician and for me, my primary physician, not to my fault, but my through our insurance keeps getting changed. I'll have a primary physician for a year and then they swap that person out and I have to go find another primary physician. So to me, the concept of having a primary physician anymore, the industry doesn't want that.
Right. And I'm going to jump in with a couple of other things about healthcare. One is health insurance. So by us traveling internationally, we have been able to secure international health insurance. And there is the requirement for the plan, Blue Cross, what's it called? Geo Blue. So it's a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, Geo Blue, for international travel. And we have to be out of the country, out of the US, 3 months a year, which fits perfectly into our plan anyway. But the cost of that insurance is probably a third what it is if we were to stay in the United States and get a traditional health insurance plan. We are not Medicare age yet, so this is kind of a big factor. And I know many of you have the same issue and you have questions about it. So that is what international travel does for us. Don't hold it against me.
And it solves two problems for us. Number one, it reduces our premium quite a bit because getting care internationally outside of the U.S. is less expensive.
Right.
And they pass those savings on to you. And number two is now we have international care coverage around the globe.
Yes. And on top of that, what we have found is the healthcare we get international is good. I mean, of course, that depends on where you are, but most places we've been, it's been great and it's very inexpensive. So even if you have a deductible or whatnot, I mean, it's just not very expensive. So that is something people worry about, leaving their home base because of healthcare and doctors. And as an aside,
You're probably going to say the same thing I was just going to say.
Okay, go ahead. Let's see.
We spend a lot of time doing everything we can to stay as healthy as we possibly can from a fitness standpoint, from a diet standpoint, to try to not require healthcare.
Correct. So we are both very healthy. We take it seriously. We want to be able to live this lifestyle for a long time, and being healthy is super important.
We don't want to be dependent on needing healthcare.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So Healthcare is kind of a home base for a lot of people. That's our take on it. Another thing, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say the next thing after healthcare, I think another big decision, and this is a tough one, much tougher than I thought it was going to be, is what do you do with your stuff?
Yeah.
What do you do? And I'm not talking about furniture. It's easy to get rid of that type of
Right.
stuff, but people have possessions that are very important to them.
Right.
What do you do if
I
you don't
did
have
do
a
a video
home
on getting
home
rid of your
base?
stuff up here, but go ahead. So
Yeah, what do you do with that stuff that's very important to you? I got a baseball that's got signatures from a whole professional baseball team. What do you do with that kind of stuff?
And so what we've done, a couple of things. We've gotten rid of 98% of our stuff. Okay. But we have a couple of other things. Since we travel full time, I don't know if you guys know this, but we do about a third of the year in our Airstream RV, which we love, and a third of the year on various cruise ships, and a third of the year traveling around the world. Because we have our Airstream RV, that is where we sort of tuck away our other things. We also use one of the closets in the family cabin that we talked about earlier. Yeah. And so for me, when we talk about the differences of home base, what it is, for me, home base is kind of where your stuff is, and also you have freedom. So for me, it would be our Airstream RV, right?
Yeah,
Wherever that is.
And to me, a home base was if shit hits the fan, another COVID.
Right.
Sorry, I probably wasn't supposed to use that word.
That's
You'll
okay.
bleep it out. Do you have a place to go? If
Yeah.
if you do have a health concern, if you have an injury, if for some reason you have to be off the road and in one place, to me, a home base is where is that place?
Yeah.
Where do you go?
Right.
For you, that can be for you, that can be the Airstream. For
It
me,
is,
it's
yeah.
our cabin
Right.
that we have. But I know that's another important thing that people think about. It's like, okay, what if
Okay,
it doesn't
what
go
if?
as we planned? What then?
Yeah, and I think that leads to sort of the kind of wrapping up the other parts of home base. It is the what ifs. That is something we hear all the time. People talk about all the time. But what if you get sick? But what if your family needs you? But what if there is a world catastrophe, political or like COVID? And so our view is, okay, if that happens, we either have our Airstream, but if we didn't, because a lot of you don't have RVs, then we would just go rent a place or buy a place. They are out there and they are available. So for all the what ifs, we really don't worry too much about it. If something happens where we need to be somewhere for an extended period of time, we'll go do it.
Yeah. Good friend of mine just posted on Facebook, and I saw this the other day, and it reminded me of this very conversation. They sold everything that they had, raised a family, sold everything that they had, and they are doing 6 months in their RV, and they're doing another 6 months now in a condo on a beach somewhere. And they just posted that they couldn't be happier with that decision.
Right. And so I think at the end of the day, do we have a home base? Do you need a home base, right? That's what a lot of you are wondering. Do you need a home base? And I guess what I would say is, number one, it's a very, very personal decision. Number two, that decision might change over time, like it has with us. We thought we wanted the rental, and now we don't want the rental. And that's okay. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to change your mind. And I think in the end, to take baby steps along the way is also okay.
Yeah, and I would tell you this too, and I remind myself of this all the time, how much I enjoy not owning a lot of things and having responsibility for a lot of things, especially when we're traveling. I do not want that stress and that responsibility of taking care of things that I'm not using all the time. So it's been so liberating to shed all those things that we don't use and we don't need anymore.
And it kind of wraps up sort of why this channel is called the Freedom Strategy in the beginning, because it is all about freedom. And honestly, it feels like such freedom when you don't have a lot of things that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
So maybe it all comes down to home is where the heart is. I don't know. But for us, that is our solution to whether or not we need a home base. We do not at this particular time really feel like we need it. And by that, I mean a house somewhere, because there are a lot of other things that are considered home.
And it's a mindset. It really is a mindset that you do not have to have those decisions in place when you retire.
Right.
You can adapt, you can adjust, you can learn as you're going through the process and make those changes. And we have.
And quite honestly, over time, ours will probably change too. So please stay tuned. Thank you for joining us on the Freedom Strategy. We do have a free handout. Give me 1 second. We do have a free handout for our top 10 retirement travel tips. That's always so hard to say. The link to that is below. So click that and it'll go straight to your inbox.
And as you mentioned earlier, we are just right on the doorstep of starting this very, very long around the world journey.
So excited.
So it's going to start in Portugal. We're going to go to Lisbon. We're going to go to Porto. We're going to go down to the Lagos, the very southwestern edge of the country. And we hope to put out some awesome footage of our experience. Not only the travel of getting there, which is going to be crazy tomorrow, crazy day, but we've got a trip that I'm so excited planned. And it starts in Portugal tomorrow.
Yes, and you'll have to stay tuned because Paul's right. Our day is crazy tomorrow. We are literally getting off this cruise ship. Yes, this is our last little cruise before we launch on our journey. We have to get off the cruise ship and make a flight by 8:30 in the morning. That's going to be challenging, flying to Boston and then flying to Portugal. So stay tuned and we will show you how that unfolds because we have no idea. Thank you again for joining us on the Freedom Strategy. We'll see you next time.